People always ask how I balance my family life with 400 shows a year. I'm just doing what I love with the people I love. It's my magic life.
I like Wes Iseli. I like everything about him.
All right, we're back. And this week we have that amazing guest, I promise you guys. This guy had his own television show. The reason I reached out to him, he was on Kill Tony just a couple weeks ago. And I'm like, I watch Kill Tony every single week. This dude, my friend, we don't know each other, but we know each other for years. We'll get into that later on. But I'm like, dude, congratulations. By the way, let's get on the podcast. I'll promote the heck out of you. Let's do it. Everybody, it's Wes Barker. What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. It was great.
Dude, it took that appearance for me to get you on here. But finally, you made it to a success where I wanted to have you. That's what it was.
Nothing pains me more than to have to tell Tony how much has come out of that stupid appearance. Right? I hate saying oh yeah, like all the shows I've been on, I go on Kill Tony once, and then like tickets start selling, people are stopping me in the street. I'm like, damn it. And then he's like, hey, how'd it go? Did you get like a Kill Tony bump? I'm like, yeah, man, I did. Thanks. Like, I hate, he's so smug about it, but he's right. It's killing out there.
He talks about the Kill Tony bump every single week. So I'm glad to hear it actually live and in person.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's real, man. No, it's good. It's really good.
I got a buddy of mine that lives in Texas. He says one day he's going to get on there. He's not a comedian. He's just a dad. And one day I'm going to do it, though. One day I'm going to do it. And then I said, my buddy was on. You got to listen. So, Roscoe.
Oh, okay.
So, let's rewind everything, all right? So, tell everybody how we know each other. Both of our names is Wes. Mm-hmm. So, if you Google Wes Magician, depending on where you Google it, I come up first, he comes up first, back and forth, and that's how we knew each other. We were always Google searches.
That's literally what I tell people when they're like, how can I find you? Like, it's like a quick passing. I don't have time to like give business cards or whatever. And like, I'm just like, maybe I did one trick at a bar. So I was like, well, how can I look you up? I'm just like, type in Wes and Magic and book either one. And that's what I always say.
That's awesome, because I do not tell them that.
I figured not, that's fine. Because I haven't got a lot coming in from you, I'll be honest.
Thank you. That's how we do 400 shows a year. Now we know. That Kill Tony bump helps. It helps so much.
Yo, when I see that 400 shows a year on your website, I was like, man, I have a hard cap at 80. A hard cap. I try and do 70. Like, I'm just like, no, I'm not doing more than that. And that's like impressive. You're like Copperfield, man.
So here's the thing, though, dude. I love it. If I have, like, we're slow right now, and I hate it. Like, we had 2 shows last week, and I'm like, I feel like I'm going to forget everything. I'm like a comedian like that. I want to get a million reps. I want to get rep.
Yeah.
Because then I can improvise. Then I can play. If I have to think, even for a split second, what I do with this sleight of hand for this trick, it takes me out of that moment. And I want to be...
Well, I mean, okay, I probably get on stage 200 plus times a year.
Okay.
Right? I go up and I do 5-minute spots at the comedy clubs every night, every other night. Like, I'm but like my own shows, I just can't do that many of them. It kills me. But I do get on stage a lot. So I know what you're saying. If I go like a week without getting on stage, I'm like, feel so rusty. Every time when I come back from like a holiday or something, I'm like, someone get me up 3 times tonight. I need some laps because, it gets rusty bad pretty quick. You don't want that.
The only thing that messes me up, we have a farm now, and they did 45 shows last October, and they booked 60 this October. And we leave there, and we'll do other shows that night. We'll work resorts after that, because we do like 11, 2, and 11, 1, and 2, or something like that, and then we're out of the farm. This year,
Damn.
We'll 11, 1, 2, 4, and then we're out and go to the other venues. But that 4 shows a day at the same venue, in the middle of my set. Did I just say this to this crowd?
Yeah.
That's where it gets messed up, man.
Yeah, you can't remember if you used that line or not.
Right,
That's so funny.
Yeah. So anyway.
Where are you guys living at? So where are you based out of?
We're in Virginia.
Okay,
And we take every show. We don't turn down shows. If they pay our going rate, we'll take them. I don't care who it's for, what it's for. You pay me, I'm there. So
we have
for sure.
We're in Virginia.
Yeah, exactly. You have to. That's awesome.
So, what was your start in Magic? How'd you get all started?
I'm from Vancouver, Canada, and I was working for like the city there. It's like one of those jobs where you drive around a city truck in orange coveralls and you fill potholes in the road and that kind of thing. And it's just very boring gig. It's like steady government job, but it's just boring a lot, right? You're sitting around killing time. There's only so many potholes, and you kind of wait for something. So I bought a book on magic, like card tricks from just the bookstore, and I was like, I'd seen David Blaine on TV. I'd seen a lot of Chris Angel on TV when I was like a teenager. And I was like, maybe I could learn some card tricks. I have all this time at work. So I started doing it at work, and I was stuck with a partner all day. So he was like a built-in little audience to test this stuff on, that poor bastard. And he was like, one good trick out of like watching 15 horrible things. So yeah, it started there, and I was like 19, 20, and that's drinking age up here. So I would just go to the bar. When I was in college, I'd go to the bar and just impress people at the bar. Like literally, I think in the back of my mind, I was like, I'm gonna pick up girls with magic. That didn't really pan out, but I made a lot of friends and I got a lot of free drinks, and that's really where it started. Then from all the magic at the bar and stuff, people were like, "Come to my uncle's retirement party. Come to my friend's wedding." And just the gigs started coming in from there, and yeah, that's really where it started for me. It was like just a really weird a way to want to stand out at the pub. Seriously.
But you never
Works.
did. But you never did restaurant magic. You never did bar magic per se at working a bar. You just did bar magic on
Going
the
in.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Just on the other side of the bar, just on the drinking side of the bar. Yeah, it was all card tricks and bar bets. And then I found Penguin Magic, and I bought a Raven, and I started doing some of that stuff. And I was like, well, I could buy a few things, and a little extra, because I started seeing a lot of repeat people, like all my friends and stuff. And I was like, I gotta up my game here. So having a steady group of people that you're gonna be performing for every week, or more, you're like starting to buy a lot of magic. And it's just sort of, and at the same time, I'm going up doing stand up just to be like open mics, just to try it. And so all these worlds were colliding at once, never with any intention of doing it for money, or especially not full time. That wasn't even on. I didn't even think. The idea of being an entertainer for a living was not anywhere on my radar.
What were you going to school for?
Business. I mean, I switched majors like 5 times. I was there for 6 years full time.
Wow.
I liked school.
Oh,
School was
wow.
easy. I went on a basketball scholarship originally, and I was just chilling, and life was just fun. And then I didn't really think past it.
Yeah.
And then after a while, I'm like, I've been here 6 years. I gotta get out of here. And then I quit and went back to that city job. And I'm like, this is not the answer either. What am I gonna do?
Yeah.
So yeah, then eventually when I was 25, and they tried to give me a promotion at that job that I hated, and I quit immediately because that freaked me out. The idea of like a promotion just is one more step down to permanency, right? So I was like, no, and I walked out that day, and I'm like, I'm gonna try and be a magician. I'm 25. Worst thing that happens is I end up back at this job in 10 years. Who cares? And that was 13 years ago, and I just never looked back after that.
Nice.
It's been wild.
Wow. 6 years in college. That's like the Burt Kreischer of magic, isn't it?
Yeah, man. Well, I almost did the full Ryan Reynolds or full Van Wilder,
Yeah.
Bert Kreischer. Yeah, I almost did the full thing.
Wow. Wow.
But yeah, see, Bert did 7 years, and he got a general studies degree. So I think he stuck it through to the end, and I just left with no pieces of paper. I was like, I'm good.
So you never did like the birthday party route and all that. You just went right into. So did you start doing theaters on your own? Did little clubs on your?
I went Yeah, I went right into like adult stuff. I did the occasional like family thing. I did a couple of birthday parties, but like never little kids. Like I think the youngest I ever did was like 13 or 12 or something, right? And then most of it immediately was right away adult stuff, and it was a lot of corporate events and weddings doing walk around magic, right? Just like through my network of friends at college, it was just very easy. So then and then I started at the comedy club as well, and they would never give me Fridays and Saturdays and stuff, but they're like, hey, if you want to try and do a magic show on this Wednesday night, you can. So I started doing that. And those are comedy clubs, especially the smaller ones. Some of them only seat 50 or 80 people. So like it was pretty easy to bring your card tricks up on those stages. So it's pretty organic. And then when I was like 28, I've been doing this like 3 years. I started really dabbling in renting my own theaters. I did it once when I was like, yeah, 27, 20, like, I don't know, a year after I quit my job, and it really paid off. It's like a 400 seater, and it worked. It's kind of a fluke. So then I started slowly doing more of that. And then I didn't do theaters for a long time. I ended up getting in the college circuit, and that was like me for the next like literally 8 years, just doing colleges and whatever. Because if you get in the college circuit, you can make your whole year in a couple of months,
Right,
you
right,
know?
right.
So that was really what was anchoring my career for several years was just these college shows. And then I'd fill it in with whatever else the rest of the year.
So
But that was the big thing.
did you meet Eric up there, LeClaire?
Yeah, I met Eric up in Canada because they did a magic show in Canada called Tricked, and they needed a host. And it came down to me or Eric to host this show, and we just did like a test episode, and then they chose Eric's episode, uh and I think it was a smart choice because it was a very kid it was very like aimed at kids, this TV show. And I was faking it. I was trying my best, but Eric has like been a kids performer for 20 years. Like that is his what he does. So I think that they smelt that and they knew it. So he got the hosting gig, and then they offered me like the magic consultant side of it. They're like, we need full-time magic consultant to make all these tricks and stuff. And I needed the money at the time, so I was like, sure, I'll do it. And then that's how Eric and I became best buddies, of just hanging out at the set every day and realized we both thought very similarly about magic. But it's good because had I got the job, Eric wouldn't have stayed to become the magic consultant because he lived across the country. It just happened that
Wow.
they were filming in the city I already lived in, right? So they give it to Eric, and I already live here. They're like, "Do you want to?" I'm like, "Sure." So I lost the TV show, but I won a friend, so it kind of worked out really good there.
I figured you
That's
guys would
awesome.
have met at the college circuit, so that's neat that you met at Tricked.
Eric's never done the colleges.
Oh, I thought he.
Eric, until this last year, he does a show now called Smokus Pocus that him and Ben Zabin, uh, Ben does it in the States, it's his baby, and then Eric does the Canadian version. Until this year, Eric had never even done like uh, any shows other than kids, these like little kids at elementary schools and stuff, and corporate events. That's all Eric would do, and then he'd fill it in with TV shows. Never did a public show, not once in 20 years. Never did a college, and then he this last year and a half he's been doing his public show, Smokus Pocus. It sells out in every city. He does it in Canada. He's killing it now. And he's
Uh,
like, "Why did I wait this long?" I'm like, "I don't know, dude. I have no
so,
idea."
so for the listeners at home and my wife, Tricked was like Canada's answer to Carbonaro, if you remember. I
Hmm.
don't know if you saw it. It was like
Yeah.
they kind
No.
of copy Carbonaro in that.
Yeah, it was all hidden camera, like literally totally Carbonaro. Absolutely. They did it in the UK as well. It's called Tricked, and it's all everything, all of that genre is Carbonaro.
Geared
Wow.
towards
All of it.
But was the Europe geared towards kids as well?
Yeah, a little bit older, but yeah,
Okay.
mostly they kind of try to make it all family friendly.
Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah.
Just curious.
No, no. So what did you guys hear anything? Did you have to get like approval from Carbonaro to do that style, or it's just hey, we're
No,
doing hidden camera magic? It's the same. Was there any kick?
they bought. There's a big problem between Tricked UK and Carbonaro, but like once our Trick didn't ever deal with Carbonaro. We bought the rights from Trick UK,
Oh,
and because they're like the original entity, they're the ones that have to deal with any kind of issue about copyright and who owns what. So I don't think Carbonaro hated our show at all. I mean, he probably did a little bit, but he was mostly mad at the original creators that are selling this idea on. So I didn't really hear anything about it until like midway through filming, and then people were like, "This is, you've stolen this idea," and I'm like, "I don't know, man. We literally are copying a show from the UK. I don't know what's going on."
right.
So yeah,
Other country. You don't know what happens in America. You're
yeah, exactly. And like, what do you guys care, man? We're two countries, the total less than 100 million people with UK and Canada combined. We're not. Who's even watching our shit? Nobody.
I saw it on YouTube. That's where I saw it. I went.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. So, all right. So you worked on Tricked, and how
Yeah.
how many years between Tricked and Big Trick Energy?
Oh man, probably like 6, 5.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I was working with Eric on that Trick show. He ended up going on and doing Trick for two more seasons, but they moved it to somewhere in Utah, and they moved it to that Mormon channel, like BYU something, right? Yeah, and then it got super squeaky clean. We thought it was clean in Canada. Oh my God, it got so clean down there, and I didn't want to go tag along for that, so I just did my own. Went back to my colleges and my own theater stuff, and at that time I had a couple viral videos, so I was trying to work on Eric's show, and then I had a couple viral videos pop off, so I'm doing America's Got Talent, Penn and Teller for the first time. I was doing Wizard Wars, and I did some other MTV show. I'm doing all of that stuff while trying to make 273 tricks for Eric's show without doing a single card trick, going fucking insane. And
Wow.
then so then I was like, dude, I'm on TV so much right now, I'm on TV more than you can have your TV show. I'm going to be famous now. I won the internet. Goodbye. So I literally just went off. I thought, because I had a couple of videos do like 10 million views back in 2014, 2015. I'm like, oh, I'm going to be a star. See you later. Uh, and then it was like 4 or 5 more years before I was even on TV again. Eric's show kind of fell flat in Utah. And him and I were both just back to our old stuff, right? He's back doing his kids' shows and corporates. I'm doing colleges and corporates. And we were just like, what are we gonna do? We got to get back on TV. And then, years later, we finally got the Big Trick Energy, and that all happened very quickly. That was like a YouTube idea that somebody heard about, and it went to the right people. Like that whole, someone mentioned something in passing, someone goes, "What are you talking about?" And then next thing you know, production companies like come to Montreal, film a thing, and they're like, Chris and Wes go to New York and meet with like all these networks, go to LA, and then pitch it. And once me and Chris Ramsey got in the room pitching it, it was over. It was like there was no way we didn't sell that thing. We didn't even do any magic in these pitches. We were just riffing so hard, showing them like how funny and out there you could be as magicians. They were really expecting more reserved, here's a card trick kind of stuff, and we're like. I mean, I was wearing tights with Chris Ramsey's face on them. I'm standing on chairs. I'm telling stories in the middle of the conference room, like on the desk. Like, oh man, we were just going off
Wow.
swinging for the fences. It was super fun. But like they were like, it was so funny to us. We're like, we got to sell this magic show without doing a single magic trick. That we have to, right? Because that's going to be the essence of the show, not the magic. Magic can't. It's too hard to make good magic at a reasonable budget on TV. Right? And these places, they're not going to give you a crazy magic budget, right? I mean, it would sound nuts if I told you, like, oh, it's whatever, 500,000 an episode or whatever, but it's nothing compared to what they're getting for Magic for Humans or what Blaine uses. So you're trying to compete on a low budget for these big budget magic shows. Not going to happen. We have to sell this on personality and antics and story time and craziness, and that's what we did. That's what we're going for. The jackass Impractical Jokers meets Magic.
Yeah, Impractical Jokers meet Magic. Done. I mean, it should have.
Yeah.
I guess.
I ran into Sal from Impractical Jokers at Joe Rogan's club 2 months ago. And I'm literally at the bar in Mitzi's, and I hear this guy go, Big Trick Energy, Big Trick Energy, Big Trick Energy. And I look over and it's Sal, and I didn't even know if he knew me. And he goes, Big Trick Energy. And I'm like, yeah. And he comes right over, he's like, what the fuck happened, man? We thought Impractical Jokers meets Magic, like boom, we thought it was like gold. We thought it was fucking gold. We're like, holy shit, these guys are gonna blow us out of the water. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know, man. And he's like, that shouldn't happen. They probably took away your creative control. And he like listed, because he's such a producer for TV now, right? Like he just knows everything. He listed like 10 things off the top of what he thought happened, and everything he said was exactly right. He's like, I bet you they didn't let you in the editing room. I bet you they did this. I bet you they told you this and gave you that. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, wow, motherfuckers. He's like, they tried to do that to us, but we were just in there for so long that we kind of snuck through on the second season. We almost didn't get a second season. As soon as we did, then we could go, or we could actually do what we wanted. But you got to get through that first season. He's like, and yeah, and it's nothing gets through. It's a crazy filter, and he had it all laid out. It was so refreshing and heartening to hear him say that to me. I was like, oh, I could have cried. I was like, this is amazing. Like, it just sort of vindicated it, because I'm like, I didn't do anything wrong. I'm like, I feel like we just got fucked over. And
Well,
he's like, yeah, you did.
it was also COVID time, though, right? Wasn't that?
Yeah, that's the other
Yeah.
huge problem there. We had to film it in Canada. We're trying to film it in Canada, and like you have to lie to all these people. You can't just run and gun on the street, do crazy shit, and then fill out consent forms later. You try and do that during COVID, people are running from you, right? Like, yeah, why is this person near me? So you have to like stop them beforehand and be like, hey, we're gonna be doing like a secret shopper thing up here. So can you go in that store and go buy like, a chocolate bar
And
and then
off
just I won't and
and take
yeah,
your.
yeah, yeah, you'd have to just yeah, exactly. And then you have to like give a whole false narrative and then trick them. And it's just not the same as when you could just stop somebody on the street and just do something. Having all these little fake little, ugh, pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Golly.
But I got a real like a real actual TV paycheck during COVID when we were all going broke, right?
Right.
So like
Yeah.
Yeah.
anyone who didn't kill it on Zoom shows was drying up and falling apart. And I was not going to be the kind of magician that kills it on Zoom shows. So I had YouTube, which was doing all right, and I was going to support us a little bit. And then this TV show was just like, I'm like, holy crap, I'm making like real money again. Just, during
Yeah.
COVID when everything's shut. So it was pretty sweet.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
All right, so you mentioned so many different things. Wizard Wars. Who are you on Wizard Wars?
Matt Johnson.
Okay,
Do you know
the
Matt?
escape artist, the cruise ship guy.
Escape artist, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Matt Johnson, escape artist from, BGT and stuff. He lived in the he lived near Vancouver where I was living at the time, and they were pairing the people by who lived closest to each other. Is how they were doing the partners. That way you guys had a chance to meet up before you go to LA to shoot the show if you wanted to. And I'd already known Matt for a few years before that. I mean, back then he was a balloon artist and a kids performer doing like he would do $30 $100 shows a month for these kids and twisting balloons and putting spoons on his nose. He's a totally different guy than he is now. No beard, less tattoos, no escapes, no big. His show now is truly incredible. He's like a proper like illusionist, like escape. It's intense. Um, but yeah, so back then I was like kind of not thrilled to be paired with him because he was just so.
Totally different.
I mean, he looked like a clown to me, right? Like if you looked up his stuff. But but then we started hanging out. I'm like, oh, this guy's great. We actually hit it off really well, and that show is so hard. You're doomed in that show. I mean, I'm kind of glad it didn't keep going on, because the premise is just so complicated.
Well,
Like
tell.
here are three items. Yeah, basically it's like the cooking show Chopped. There's mystery items that you have to use to make your meal. This was like that. Like here are three random items to make a magic trick. For us, it was like, oh, you have a bubble machine, you have a remote control floating shark, and you have like a briefcase full of like, $2 million of fake money. You're like, what? And they're
Now
like,
make.
go make a magic trick with
Yeah.
these.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, we're
Wow.
like, okay. So that was like, it was a very hard premise, super fun. I'm glad I got to do it. This first time I got to meet Penn and Teller. Like, there's a bunch of great things around it. I met a bunch of other magicians. I'm kind of a loner. I have a few really close magician friends, but I was never like a convention guy. So that was my first time hanging out in LA for a week with all of these magicians, like names that I'd bought tricks from on Penguin Magic 1,000 times. I'm just like, this is crazy. So that was like super sick. Um, and then but yeah, it's weird. Some of the people that were on there, like I was there with Blake Boyd and stuff, and then you see later on where people go, and I'm like, this is so fun. Like it's a cool little origin, a meeting of magicians. But yeah, that was a strange one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
those three.
I don't even put that one in my promo.
No, but we're magicians. We're just talking magic stuff. What was your? I know your T-shirt bit on Fool Us, but what was the other bit? I don't remember the other one. I know I've seen it probably, but there's so many in my head.
Yeah, yeah. So I was on the first season. I was one of the first people to fool them, and I was like maybe probably in the first 10, I think.
So
And
you were up
it was
or
a
the
trick
first
where
year?
they did the season in the UK, and then they had a 4-year hiatus, and then they did a season in Vegas, and I was on the first season in Vegas.
Okay.
And I did a trick where I rip a phone book in half, I throw the pages in the air, and I stab the page that the host is thinking of. And I've been doing that trick at that time for like 4 years. I've been touring it everywhere. I knew the beats inside and out, and I really didn't think it was going to fool them. Um, because I was doing kind of a different method. And then like a week before the shows went a week before I went to film the show, I woke up out of a dead sleep at like 3 in the morning, and I like holy shit. I go into my office, write down a bunch of shit, go back to sleep. My wife's like, what's wrong? I'm like, I just randomly thought of a way I'm going to fool Penn and Teller next week. This is kind of hilarious because I've been doing this trick for 4 years and I never thought about it. And then I was like, and I wrote it down, and sure enough, when I got there, I had to go do it in front of Michael Close and at that time Johnny Thompson, and I was showing them, you have to perform the whole thing, and they were like, "Yeah, it looks great. This will be awesome." And then I'm like, "Do you guys want to know how it works?" And like, "Yeah, we know how it works." And I'm like, "I don't think you do." And then they like both were like, "What?" They took a guess, and they were like, "How?" And then I fooled both of them, and they're like, "Holy crap, you're actually gonna win!" And I'm like, "Oh, nuts!" So I kind of knew because of how and then the way Penn guessed is all the ways I had done it before for the last 4 years. He guessed like three different ways in the show. He's like, "Oh, you're holding a break, and you got this, and oh, it's a forest. Oh, it's an index. All this stuff." And these are the ways I had been performing it. So I was kind of on stage being like, "This is so fucking funny. He'll never guess the real one." And yeah, it was great. So I did that, and like because that show was so new and I was one of the only people at the time. There was like literally six other people that had fooled Penn and Teller at that time. Uh, I just got booked around the world, right? Because you're like that was like he fooled Penn and Teller was like now there's I mean, I don't know how many people we have to do all the math, but there's probably over 100 people that have one of these trophies, right? But back then there was like less than 10. So I'm getting booked in Jakarta, in Singapore, in Dubai, in like 30
Wow,
countries, just like crazy. So it was really cool.
dude, that's
Yeah, but that was like again, I thought that I'm like, well, bring on all the rest of everything, like keep it coming. I thought that it was never gonna end.
Yeah.
getting up in the middle of the night
Hard
making
to
notes.
know.
Familiar?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ish.
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 I'll be driving down
It's
the road.
only
False transfer. You work through a whole routine in your head. You
Yeah.
never know when it's.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I waking up out of a dead sleep with something that's the only time that's ever happened to me. Maybe once more for like an illusion for the TV show, but mostly, yeah. Like, I mean, yeah, it can strike you at any time in a conversation. You can just drop off and make a note or have an idea. But like out of a dead sleep for me was a new experience. I was like, whoa, that was weird. So I don't know what
Wow.
was going on there. My subconscious was working through something.
Inspiration.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
that was cool.
I got so many things I want to talk to you about. Do you have the same Guinness record that Eric was so proud of?
Yeah, me, Eric, Chris, Ramsey, and Alex Boyer all got the same record. It was the four of us that put this together because it was meant to be a publicity stunt for our TV show.
That's right. That's
So
right.
that's
Okay.
why they had us do it. So yeah, it's something like the
Uh,
longest video
he was
chain of people performing a magic trick. Yeah.
he was poo pooing it, but yeah,
Is that?
I thought you were part. He was poo pooing it. He was like, yeah, this is dumb, but we got
Yeah.
it.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's I mean, it's Guinness records are funny in general. Like I tried to get one years ago as a publicity stunt, like 2012 before I quit my job, 2011 maybe 12. um I tried to do one, like a legit one. Like I tried to do the fastest mile while carrying somebody, and I was training for like 9 months. I lost 35 pounds. It was like insane.
Whoa.
And and I didn't get it. It was so close. It was such an intense day. I
Do they
collapsed
have
like 100 yards before the end.
Oh
Was that?
no.
Do they have to weigh the person that you're carrying?
Yeah, they have to weigh, and the rule is they have to weigh your weight or more. So whatever
Oh,
I weighed, he had to be heavier. Yeah.
Wow.
So I was 193 at the time. He was 193.1. We like literally had it down that like he took a sip of water and I took a piss, and we are like,
are you are
That's
you
great.
are you allowed to like harness them in like a baby? I mean, because if they have to hold on, that's a whole.
nope.
That's,
No.
Yeah, no, you're not allowed to harness him in. There's nothing. It's just over the shoulder, fireman style. I got his leg and his arms, and I'm wearing gloves and like clamped down. Dude, we practiced so much. He was always bruised for like 6 months straight. He was just bruised down the side like crazy from letting me do this to him. Like we'd meet up every other day. Yeah,
so
Oh.
how
but
close
he was on my college basketball team. He was like a real homie, so he was used to it.
are you guys?
I was on pace, like speed wise. Oh yeah, for sure.
Wow.
Speed wise, we were on pace, good, and then yeah, just 100 meters, like come around the last corner, and I just couldn't. I was staggering. I couldn't take one. I mean, I took my last step like half a lap ago. I couldn't take any. I was on fumes, man. The
Oh.
whole everyone in the stands was down, like come on, and I'm just like collapsed. It was insane.
Oh.
But
What
like
is,
that was yeah that
what were you trying to beat?
sorry.
What was the number you were trying to beat?
Oh, back then it was. This is why I decided to do it. Back then it was like 14 minutes. It was like a speed walk, is all it
Wow.
was. Right now, if you look at that record now, it's like 8 minutes. Right, it's like someone huffing it. But back then, I was going through the Guinness World Records and I was looking for records that were new because new records mean someone just set a record, but it hasn't been challenged much. So I'd always go to the new records, and this was a new record. This guy Ashrita Furman had a Guinness World Record for holding the most Guinness World Records. Right, he had like 200 records. I'm like, there's no way he's good at 200 things. He's just finding niches. So I'm like, what am I good at? I used to be a forest firefighter. And even though I was one of the shortest guys in the crew, I could carry the most lengths of hose on my shoulder. I was really good at the fireman carry. I knew I was like, I'm built like a pack horse. I'm like, I can obviously beat this guy at this thing. So that's when I decided to hone in on that. It kind of fit my lifestyle at the time. And and yeah, I was just wrong because this Ashrita guy was like 165 pounds. So I already had like 25 pounds on him, right? So that's 25 on me, 25 on my back with the other guy. So it's like, yeah, you got to go skinny for that one, and I just couldn't get any smaller.
Yeah.
Wow.
Goodness.
Wow.
So close.
All right.
That
So
was sick. So yeah, so when we got this record, I was like, fuck this record, because the other one meant a lot.
Oh,
The other one, I was like, I really wanted it, but at least they put this in the book. So once it's in the Guinness World Record book, it feels kind of vindicating.
you got it. You got one. I don't have one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's pretty sick. But I met a guy the other day who came to my show, and he has like 20 records. He's like some juggler, and he's like not even that popular. He just has 20 records, and I was
Wow.
like, this is crazy. Like some people just are in niches that find it easy to get records, and the rest of us are just like, I've been trying to get a record forever. So I don't know, it's tricky.
Wow. I've never looked. There was a comedian when I was like 9 years old that said, he looked through the book and couldn't find anything he wanted to do, but he did see one for the world's oldest man. And I think I can do that. All I got to do is not die. And I'm really working on that. It was hilarious when I was 8, but I'm ruining it. But that's a good one. That's a good go for it.
I like that. I like that a lot.
So when you go to Kill Tony, how long have you been going there? You've been hanging out backstage. Had you been going a lot?
Um, I met, yeah, I met Tony like 3 years ago. Um, his producer, Yoni, was like a fan of Chris Ramsey's and mine, but mostly Chris. Chris is the lead-in for a lot of people, and he's like told me and Chris to come down and watch Kill Tony. This is years ago, so we went down there and hung out. And Yoni is such a great guy, and he's the main producer there. And we, the royal treatment. They let us, backstage. We got to meet Hinchcliffe, and we got to hang out and meet. And we're like, oh, this is such a cool vibe. And it was popular back then, but maybe like 100,000 views an episode, not like 2 million like it is today. So we just started hanging out. We'd do a lot of magic at the bar in the green room, and we were sort of going back like every few months, and just hanging out more and more. And then it got to the point where we started just going. I mean, I started going even more regularly, and then it would just became slowly becoming friends, not just with Yoni, but with Tony and the rest of the crew. And then when they moved into the mothership with Rogan and everything, it became more like, oh, we go to Mitzi's and we hang after. This is the vibe. And just really lucky to have all these like kinds of friends. And then last year, I just moved. We rented an apartment down there, so I spent half my time in Austin, and then I started going every week. And so most of those times I put my name in the bucket. So I probably have my name in the bucket like 30 plus times. I've probably been to like 45 shows, but about 30 something times I put my name in. But there's like on any given night, there's maybe a 3%, 4% chance of getting your name pulled, right? We got 300 names in the bucket, and you're gonna pull five or six, seven, six probably. So it's just your odds aren't, it's like that. I think that's like 2%, 6 out of 300. So you're not really, yeah, the idea that it would take you 50 times to get pulled isn't crazy. So yeah,
Yeah.
I was happy when he pulled me out, but like I didn't know. People are like, oh, he rigs it. I'm like, trust me, if Tony was gonna rig it, he would rig it. Like, and I asked him directly so many times, be having drinks real late, deep in the whiskeys. I'm like, just fucking put me in, man. Come on, right? And he's like, no, he's like, they believe in the magic of that bucket there. They really do. They don't mess with it. Like, if you come out, if you get pulled, you get pulled. I'm like, okay. So when I was going there regularly, right? Once I'm living there and I'm going every Monday, I'm like, I'm gonna start sneaking stuff in case I get pulled. Now, the mothership is super tight security. There's like so many security guys, full wand down, full pat down, inspect everything. Any electronics goes in a bag, gets locked up, can't touch it. And I'm like, okay, what can I do on stage if I get pulled up that I could sneak through? Right? The answer is not a lot because like they won't even let you bring a Sharpie in. Like it's crazy. They make you lock up a
Wow.
Sharpie. Yeah. So
But you got
yeah,
a
like
knife.
it's incredible security.
But you got a knife
Yeah.
in. That's a magic
So
trick.
I would exactly, but they, if you watch the thing back, Tony starts as soon as I pull the knife out, he's like, and that would be Zach, the security guy, not doing his job. Tony that misses the rest of the trick, and he misses the vibrator, he misses everything, and he's just nonstop focused on this. Backstage, you can't see here from the cameras. Backstage, it's pandemonium back here because there's only two people in there that know actually, basically just me. Me and one other person knows I snuck something in, but they don't. Everyone thinks the knife is this person's, not mine. I'm getting zero credit for being a good magician at this point. And I do the whole thing, and Tony's very nice to me. He's, I killed it, amazing, but he didn't even fucking watch the trick at that point. As soon as the knife came out, he was just like, what the fuck is happening? So I go off stage back to my seat,
All right, but
and there's like
Natalie,
45 minutes
Natalie
of show
hasn't
left.
Natalie hasn't seen it. It was a butter knife. It wasn't like a real.
Oh,
It was just a
butter
It
knife.
was just a butter knife, right? It wasn't like a steak knife or a.
No. It's a legit like ching knife. It's like a proper
Oh,
like if I
okay,
was gonna
okay,
kill Joe Rogan, that's the knife I'd bring in. Yeah.
okay.
No, it's like a
Oh,
legit knife.
okay. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
it's legit. So I go back to my seat and they're like, the show goes on. At the end of the show, I go backstage and the security guys are literally yelling at each other. Like, how do you miss a knife in a purse? Da, da, da. And I'm like, whoa, guys, that was mine. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, the knife, the vibrator, the magnifying glass, the tongs, the lemon. Like, of course, that's all sleight of hand. I put that in there, and that's why that trick is awesome. They're like, you did all that? I'm like, yeah, I'm a magician. And they're like, holy fuck, that's incredible. They were blown away. But again, not when I was up there doing it. Up there, they were just like, whoa, this lady in purse has stuff in it. Like crazy. I'm like, you're an idiot. Anyways, 2 minutes later, they're like, how the fuck did you get the knife in here? And I'm like, well, that's also part of the trick. But again, I thought that was going to translate so well on stage. I thought they'd be like, wow, Wes is a great magician. Look at all this stuff. How funny that he snuck it past our security. Nope. They're like, didn't even think about the fact that I might have been able to do that. They were just like blaming each other for this security failing. So, anyways, the set went decent. It was a good set. Like, obviously, it's a good appearance, but there was so much happening, like right behind and here, and I was like, oh my god, this is going so weirdly right now. So I was just like carrying on with the trick. I'm like, what the fuck? But yeah, there was a lot behind the scenes.
Wow.
They took it very serious that something got snuck in.
Well, they
More
had
than
no
one
idea it was
something.
magic. They
Right,
didn't even.
right.
Yeah,
It didn't register. Yeah. Well, they're
They
not
have
used to
crazy
seeing
people up
magic,
there.
though.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
haven't seen full episodes. We've
But I'm
listened to a
saying-
couple.
That,
There's some nut jobs that show up there.
Yeah, well,
So-
but I'm saying
oh
people
yeah,
have come up and done magic too. That's unexpected, so they're not
yeah.
quick to make that jump. You know what I mean? Either. So,
Yeah, exactly. They're just, and even so, they know that I went through the security.
right.
So even if magic aside, they're like, how? There's no way they patted him down. How would he have got this in here?
Right.
But I'm just like, well, now I just have a goal to get bigger and bigger things there. I want to get an axe on that stage by the end of the year.
That'd be great.
Kill Tony. Just have it
Just like,
show up. There you go.
That's funny.
All right. So
yeah. So some magicians were like, oh yeah, sorry.
no, go.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, there's a weird delay. Some magicians were like some of the comments were like, "That's a really weird choice of tricks." Blah blah blah. For going on Kill Tony, and I'm like, I think you or underestimate your options, or you overestimate your options. Like a lot of people in the comment section, most of the comments are over the top, super positive and awesome. But there's a few that aren't, and I'm just like, man, you're not thinking about this from the actual logistic perspective. You can't. Good luck. Even getting a thumb tip in there is if it's not your car keys or your wallet, it's going to be locked up. period.
Wow.
So it's like that's the one thing. I've had other magicians be like, "Oh, I'm gonna go and kill Tony now." I'm like, "Good luck. Keep in mind that it better be fucking arm twister because there's not much you can do up there. You're not gonna get stuff in." And ever since I did that, the security's gotten even crazier because they don't want to be embarrassed again. I guess I don't know.
But you have a relationship with Yoni. Couldn't you set something up?
Absolutely, I can still probably do. I can do nefarious things. I'm just talking to other magicians that want to go sign up.
Right, right. I'm just saying for you. I'm not going to sign up.
Yeah,
I'm trying to take care of you.
like, not.
Talk to Yoni, man.
Oh yeah, for me, I'm not worried about me. No, that's good.
Okay.
But that's the other thing. That's the other thing too with Kill Tony. And when you go sign up now, they're really big on, hey, if you want to play guitar or sing a song or blah blah blah, we don't want that. We don't want variety bullshit here. We want fucking comedy. Like they say that when you go to sign up now. So I think like if there are magicians that want to go, I'm like, go try. But it will be it's harder and harder to get through because they are trying to keep it true to what it is. Try a minute of stand up, right? Do that. They don't want all the other bullshit. So it's a bit of a, I don't know, it's interesting.
So Carrot Top would have a hard time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I always say. I'm like, can you just start viewing me like Carrot Top? Call me a prop comic if you want. I don't care. But I need stuff. Let me bring my stuff. It'll be fine. I won't make it overly magic. I won't be in there dove fireball. I'm gonna do normal, like I'll make it cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's fun. I love being around Texas, man. I love that whole crew. They're just the best, and the comedians there are amazing. I get to do shows with all those comics sometimes. I was on a show the other day with Ari, Maddie, and stuff, and like it's just like unbelievable amount of talent coming through there. Being in Austin is like a whole like mind fuck of just like whole. It's pretty incredible.
All right. I don't know what happened. We're back. So what the
It's
heck?
all good.
We're talking about the Kill Tony stuff.
Yeah.
Do you ever, when you're hanging out backstage, do you ever feel like a performing monkey? Does everybody? He says everybody wants to hang around and see magic tricks. Do you feel like you have to extra load your pockets? You don't want to repeat material? Is it a hassle or is it a fun hang?
I think I stress myself out with that a little bit sometimes, but unnecessarily. They only they love magic there. Almost everybody I meet at the mothership loves magic. All the comics I meet except for like two, right? Like there's only a couple guys that don't want to see magic, right? Bert Kreischer does not want to see magic. He's scared of it, right? Nate Bargatze doesn't want to see magic because he's seen it all. Um, so everybody else is really excited to see magic. They're like, "Oh, this is dope. Sure, let's see." But they're excited in the sense of like, if you want to show them magic, don't, if I don't initiate it, no one's gonna be like, "Hey, man, where's the fucking magic?"
Uh,
Right? Like it won't happen. Occasionally, like the other day, I was standing there and this guy came over to me. Keep in mind, I'm not a sports fan, so I didn't know who he was. So he just came over to me, this tall, beautiful man. He's like, "Hey, I love magic. I hear you're a magician. Tony says you got magic on you." And I'm like, "I'll do a trick for you right now." So doing tricks for this guy, he's having a great time, like loving it. I mean, that's easy. One on one, guy that loves magic. We're having a great time. 20 minutes later, he leaves. Guy comes over. He goes, "How do you know Drew Bledsoe?" And I was like,
uh,
"Oh, that's who that was." I was trying to figure out why you looked familiar. So
Oh,
like, yeah, there's cool shit like that goes down. So I mean, it's no more than anywhere else, right? Like you get as much or as little as you want. Yeah, like Tony just loves magic. Tony's also like a great magic spectator. He's really hype about it all. He will enjoy it in the moment, and then after he'd be like, "I think I know what you did there, you sneaky." And he'll like, he's pretty smart. He's seen a lot of magic. He wrote for one of Justin Willman's specials years ago on Comedy Central, like Sleight of Mouth. So he has like a really good he's a good magic meter. He's seen a lot of magic. And yeah, I don't know. It's just a really good hang. I don't feel like a dancing monkey, but I put pressure on myself because I do want to perform and do cool stuff. And especially like you got big VIP celebrity guests coming through that aren't part of the show. They're just up in the VIP booth watching and stuff. It is a little bit on me if I want to be the magician in Austin in that scene. It is a bit on me to make sure I do something cool for these people that come through, right? It can only help me, and that's why I'm there. I'm there for making friends, nepotism, and hanging out. Like I'm there to play the game a little bit. So why
game.
wouldn't I?
Yeah, you're 100%. I mean, Roseanne Barr and just everybody that's coming through there, you don't know.
Yeah.
And Roseanne might take you on the road with her as an opening act, or you just don't know. No, but I mean,
Jeez.
if she,
Yeah, it absolutely could happen. I couldn't pick out more hilarious example of something insane. That would be so wild.
I'm just, I'm just naming a name that I've seen in this VIPs. So,
No, you're 100% right. 100%.
so I did remember your first appearance on Fool Us because you did the telephone booth. What I didn't like about it was you revealed it on YouTube. You
Yeah.
revealed it. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
I couldn't think of a reason why not to.
Yeah, that's what I remember. I remember you revealed it, and I'm like, oh, I didn't want to see it out there.
Yeah. Well, because like I knew I was done with it. Like I knew I couldn't I'm like I can't find phone books big enough to make it worth it. And even when I can, I need two per show. If I go on tour even for a week, I got to pack 14 phone books. It's insane. It wasn't working for my lifestyle. And then as far as revealing magic, I was like, well, I mean, the whole premise of Penn and Teller Fool Us is you're trying to fool Penn and Teller. And they already know everything, right? Like they've been around a million years, they know everything. Yet you can still fool them with stuff they know. So me teaching a trick on YouTube doesn't mean you can't still fool people with it. You can teach someone a double lift and then 10 seconds later fool them with a double lift. So I was just like, I don't think there's a problem. I'm just going to do that.
I'm not calling you mass magician. It's your trick. You can
Oh
do
no,
what
it's
you
it's
want. You
fine.
can do what you want. But in my heart, I'm like, Wes, don't let every 13
Yeah.
kid in the world know how you did your magic. No, no, let them get.
Well, what happened, the follow-up from that has been incredible in a lot of ways. I get a lot of people, 13-year-olds, but now they're 20, and they're like, dude, when you revealed that trick, like they got me into magic, and they
Oh,
found their love through magic. And I get a lot of bookings for corporate events from the bosses that found this, and they like to feel like they're behind the curtain, and they're like, oh, he showed me how to, and they book me for their corporate events because they're like they think it's incredible that I would give away that, and then they can't imagine how good my stuff in my show must be now if I'm teaching that piece of crap that fooled Penn and Teller. You know what I mean? Like
well,
if I'm throwing that away, what is he doing now? And I probably made 30 grand on that.
that's great.
Wow.
That's great.
Yeah.
So like, because like Murphy's wanted me to sell it, right? They're like, sell it, and I'm like, how much? And I think they're gonna give like $3,000 or something. And I was like, I don't think so. Like selling it makes no sense. It's kind of disingenuous. No one's gonna be able to pull it off. What are you gonna do? You're gonna start ripping a textbook or a Bible or something? Like, what are you gonna do? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Phone book was the most logical thing to do, and they're just not popular. I don't want anyone to spend $100 on something that they can't use and then they learn the trick and they go, nah, motherfucker, I don't want that. So I'm
Right.
like, let me just put it out. And yeah, and everyone's got different opinions about it, and it's all good. But I haven't seen any actual negative repercussions for it.
Okay. All right. No, I just in my heart, but I see you got the views, you got the money for that. I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
You're not
It,
you.
well, I didn't actually know I was gonna make any money. That's the thing. Like, and now I'm like, oh, that was a good business move, but I didn't actually know I was gonna make any money. I was putting it out for $0. Like, I was literally being like, I might make nothing on this, but just ethically, I liked it, and I like being able to explain Penn and Teller's side of things. I kind of feel like I kind of owed it to them because when it came to my trick, there was three parts to the trick they could have guessed at. And I would have just been like, "Yep, you did great. Thanks. You got me," and leave. But they didn't choose that. They chose to guess at the thing they didn't know, and that was like such a high level move for them. Like they literally got themselves fooled. Even Penn at one point, if he just stopped talking, I would have been like, "You got it." You know? He's like, "You have a second phone book back there," and I was about to be like, "Yep, you nailed it. Thanks for having me." And he goes, "So I think that that's an index," and he did, and then he kept talking, and I'm like, "Oh no, he's talked himself right out of the solution." So I wanted to be able to explain, like, no, Penn and Teller are geniuses. The show is not rigged. They just decided to guess at the thing they didn't know, and I thought that was so cool. And I wanted a chance to tell the world that. So, like, if you watch the video, I get a real honest moment where I get to be like, these guys are actually legit heroes, and it felt good to be able to throw that back to them because some people watch the video like of my performance, And if you pause it at 5 minutes and 55 seconds in, when I turn, you can see the page is stuck on the sword. And everyone goes, these fucking, and they start hammering on Penn and Teller, hammering on the show. And I can't have you bad mouthing the greatest magic show to ever come through. You know what I mean? So I was like, I need to explain. So it was like, I have so many different reasons of why I wanted to do it. And that was it. Yeah. So I don't know.
No.
I don't feel I was a bit like, oh, should I put this up there? Like a little bit when before I hit publish, I was like, I don't know. But then Eric Leclaire was like, yeah, I'm gonna post mine too. Let's do. So we both posted on the same day, and
Wow.
and I'm not gonna say mine got more views, obviously, but Eric's went on YouTube trending. He was like 35 on YouTube trending for a day. It was crazy.
Wow. Wow. But
Yeah,
was his the peanut?
yeah,
No. Yeah, the peanut. Okay. Yeah.
packing peanut. Yeah,
Yeah. So, you spent half your time in Texas and Canada. Is your wife coming with you?
she's a flight attendant, so she's gone a lot doing her own thing, and
Okay.
then she comes to Texas like if I'm there for like a month, she'll come down for like 5 days or a week.
Okay.
But if I'm just dipping down for a week, sometimes she comes, sometimes she doesn't. It's kind of, but our life has kind of been like that. It doesn't matter where I am. Like, I basically see her 10 to 15 days a month, regardless, no matter where I am. So she's just gone, I'm gone, we're both touring. So, like, if I have a show somewhere, she'll show up if she can for the weekend. If she's working, we're both gone. See you later. So, our life's very just, we can't have a cat. We can barely keep the plants alive. But it's just a lifestyle that really suits us. We've been at it for a while. So, yeah, I wouldn't recommend it to most people, but for us, it's great.
Dude, that's
Works.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's like when the pandemic happened. We're like everyone's like, oh, I gotta work from home now. I'm like, yeah, or at least you have a job. Like we're both just no jobs, right? Flight attendant's not working, performer not working. So now we're two people that never see each other, are just in a one bedroom apartment in downtown Toronto staring at each other all day every day with no work, right? And I'm like, and we're like, what are we gonna do for money? I'm like, the only thing that makes money right now for me is YouTube. Not enough, but if we do it every day, and she's like, well, I guess I want to be in the videos because her options were in the bedroom, lock the door, will I make content, or join the video. So she's like, I'll do the video. Yeah, of course. So we started doing these comedy couple sketches and stuff. And the first one blew up immediately, like made 10 grand, just boop, right out of the gate. And after that was super the confidence building when you have a big thing pop like that with a new idea. So we're like, all right, every day we film. So that's all we did for like 9 months. We just filmed content every day together and put up videos. And it gave us something to do. Like it kept us sane,
Mm-hmm.
and we had so much fun doing it. It was like crazy how much fun we had. And then it brought in enough money to pay the bills. I mean, we weren't making $10,000 a video like the first video. Nothing popped like that again. But we were making thousands of dollars a month, enough to make everything paid. So
That's
it really saved our ass. It was wild.
that's
That's
awesome.
great.
Well, that's
Yeah.
the problem. We're together 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Right.
So
Yeah.
some people, when they're that far apart, are the average couple spends 4 hours a day together, right?
Right.
Wow.
So
Right. Yeah.
and they get thrown into something like that, they hate each other. But you guys,
Yeah, we
you're
weren't sure. We're just like we think we will be fine, and we were. It was actually really hard to go back to the other life.
Oh.
I missed being around her all day. Like we had so much fun. We like had such a. We never been routine people, right? Really, we're always different places or cities. But it was like, oh, we have the coffee here. We sit here. We do a workout here. Oh, we make a different cocktail. We were getting dressed up at 5 o'clock and making cocktails and standing on our balcony. Like just have all these little. We have like a 5 hour work day where we film the videos, and I'd go edit. We get like this. She'd go do her own thing. I'd go edit stuff. It was really like a nice. I mean, I don't wish the pandemic like the way we had it. That sucked for everybody, obviously, but it might have been one of the best times of my life.
Oh.
that's awesome, dude. That's
That
awesome.
is.
So when you're down in Texas, you're doing these stand up. Are you going around all the other bars that are real close to the mothership?
Yeah, there's 7 comedy clubs, and I frequent 4 of them like really, really regularly, and go up and I'll get on the paid shows and do spots if I can, or I'll just hit up like just guest spots, 5 minutes here and there at other shows, and then I run a monthly show there at Roscoe's where I do my Wes's Magic Hole show, and I invite comedians to come in and try a magic trick, and that's really fun. Watching these comics
Are
sweat it
you
out
are
in the
you letting them do their own thing?
I say go find. I give them 2 weeks notice, and I
Okay.
say find a magic trick, perform it. The audience is going to vote. Whoever has the trick that they like the most gets $100, And you have 10 minutes. You can do stand up for 9 minutes if you want and just do a 1 minute trick at the end. I don't care what you do with your 10 minutes. Some people go all out and they try like a big mentalism thing for 10 minutes. And then the rest of them just throw together some card trick, coin trick, rope trick, whatever they can, some bar bet, some, ashes on the palm has been happened twice. People just learned it from their uncle when they were 15. So like you get, it's really surprising what you get. But they are professional comedians and they are in the green room, buckets of sweat. They're so nervous because they have to do a magic trick. They're like, this is like the first time I had to do stand up. I'm fucking freaking out back here. And they're running their tricks by each other. They're coming to me for advice. Like, what do you think about this? Like, do you have a bigger Sharpie? Do you have a bigger Sharpie? I don't know. I need a, and they're panicking. And I'm just
Oh,
like, it's the best. I'm like, keep it together. All right, you're on. And they're like spacing. And like, these guys will play 2,000 seaters for stand up, right? And they're like, don't even care. They're like, yeah, this is what we do. And then they go in this little 80-seat room and they're just dying. It's amazing.
All right, so I want to show. I want to see this. You need to start recording it and uploading it.
I
One,
do.
one
I recorded.
show.
I have 8 recorded. I think I've only uploaded 2. I'm gonna start making a regular upload on it though. I will.
So I can find it on YouTube now on your
You
channel.
can find 2 of them. Yeah.
That's what I'm doing after.
So
Well,
I
I got.
have to the thing I have to do though is I have to cut all of their stand up and just show their trick part because I don't want to burn their material. That's for them to burn on a special or whatever. So the online version in a 2-hour show, the online version that you'll watch will be like a 25-minute episode, and it's just like the 2 minutes they decide to do the trick. But it's fun to watch. And you'll see some hot garbage. You see the best and worst magic you've ever seen in your whole life. I promise you.
Wow, that sounds awesome, dude.
Yeah, it's
All
super
right,
fun.
so we're running out of time here. You have a crazy tour going on. Tell
Yeah.
everybody about the tour.
I basically every Friday and Saturday I'm in a new city in Canada and the States. It does not have any. If you mapped it out, you would think I've gone insane. But it's just because I'm doing this all myself. So I will literally book something on the East Coast one weekend, West Coast the next weekend, and everything in between. So if you don't see your city or you think, oh man, he went to Chicago, but he didn't go by Detroit or whatever. Detroit could be coming after Florida. We don't know. So type in, text me, DM me, send me a message on where you live. I'm booking shows. I'm never gonna stop this tour until I make $10 million. So I'm just gonna keep going. So every Friday, Saturday, I book a new place, and yeah, I have about 20 dates on my website right now. So go check out stuntmagician.com. And if you don't see your city on there, you got to hit me up. But I'm pretty good at getting everywhere. And I just booked these. They're always between 200 and 500 seat theaters, and I try and keep the ticket price reasonable. And yeah, man, they're selling out. Like I felt a real needle move the last 6 months. Something changed in my career, and it's just like the tickets sell out instead of the day of. They're selling out weeks in advance, sometimes months in advance, and I'm just like pretty stoked about it. So yeah, it's the nonstop Wes Barker Magic is Funny tour. It's endless. It'll keep going until I run out of until I finally feel financially secure, which won't happen anytime soon. So come see a show.
So the Magic is Funny tour, and the
Yeah.
Wes is Whole is a different show.
Wes's Magic Hole happens once a month in Austin, always. It's like the middle Tuesday of the month. The next one will be February 11th, and it's always at Roscoe's Comedy Club. I might have to move it one day if it keeps getting bigger, but right now it's a good spot for it. And yeah, it's once a month in Austin, and it's just the best. I do pop up ones occasionally, like I did one in Toronto and one in Vancouver, but those are just random. Those ones, man, I did a pop up one in Vancouver, 100 seats sold out in like a day. Like it was, I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh man, because the premise is so compelling to people. Like it's not even arguably, it's definitely a less good magic show than you could see anywhere. Right, you could go to any better magic show, but that's not what people are interested in. People like train crashes and car wrecks, right? They're like, oh, what's gonna happen here? And it's super fun. So I get it for a fun aspect. It's the best show ever.
All right, so I'm getting to a point in my career where I'm actually starting to limit myself on my stunts because I'm getting older. And if I'm going to do it, I want to do it for the next 10, 15, 20 years. How
True
long are you
that.
going to do beers without touching your hands? Without
I honestly don't even do it if I stretch for 30 to 40 minutes every day. And if I miss a day, I can't perform that trick.
I believe
So
it.
like I have to wait until I have like I'm back on like 3 or 4 or 5 days in a row, and then I can do it again. So I have an alternate trick that's still quite convoluted, and it's still funny to watch, and it's balancing a beer and everything. So it's like a backup trick that I do on the off days. But yeah, I'm the same. Like I do I get into my straight jacket now. I don't do the escape anymore. I do like the reverse escape where I like get into it on stage by myself, which is kind of fun. And that one's like, it's super hard on me too. I'm like, geez, like if I'm 38 and I'm still feeling good, I'm trying to stay in as really good shape as I can. But every month reminds me of how much more in shape I have to be. I have to be even more dialed in. Every year older you get, you got to be even more dialed in. So I don't know. We'll see. I'll do it till the discipline runs out.
Wow, that's awesome, dude. Dude, this time went by so quick. I had a blast.
Yeah, this is fun.
We had a video lag. We had to reconnect, and Natalie was like, I was having fun, too.
Yeah.
I was really in it.
Yeah.
So, she doesn't always say that with the magic ones. So thank you. Awesome.
Well, it was good. It was good hanging out with you guys. I always feel bad on these things when it's not in person. I always feel like it's less of a conversation and it's more of me just yelling at you guys. So I mean, I wish we could have done it in person because I mean, we would have a way better combo. I want to hear more about what your guys are up to. I only know what I see posted, right? So I really want to know what's up with you guys. So next time, hopefully, we can sit down and have more of a chit chat for real instead of me just spouting off on my nonsense.
Well, we'll do it again, and we'll just have a conversation. Now we know where you started. Now we know all your TV credits. We'll just have a conversation next time.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
All
This
right.
is great. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Stuntmagician.com
That's the one.
and Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
Everything just Wes Barker. If you look up second best Wes magician, then you'll find me.
That's good branding. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Dude, you're the best, man. Thank you so much. The only thing we
Thanks
have
a
left
lot.
to say. See you next week.
Check us out online at wesisley.com and patreon.com/Wes_Isley for behind-the-scenes videos, blooper videos, never-before-seen footage, discounts on merchandise, magic trick tutorials, and more. That's Wes Iseli, spelled Wesiseli.